All right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're back tonight. We're playing more Swords of the Serpentine. We are continuing our Tides That Bind campaign. And we were just learning before we went live about Chauncey's very tragic backstory. You want to fill us in on that tragic backstory really quick there, Jeremy? Or do you want to save that for later?
The normal, gist of most bastard stories is you've got the noble father that's running around, fooling around, and, he's got kids he doesn't even know about. But part of the reason Chauncey has so many issues and he's a bitch of he's just a jerk and an attention whore is because his noble parent was the mother. So he's got problems that, she carried him to term and then just said, no, thank you. So,
And you're how old again?
At this 29, point, probably mid-20s.
Okay, mid-20s. How
mid to late 20s
again?
She's in her 50s.
Like,
just saying.
Late.
Oh, no.
Could you imagine?
Tuna.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh, how goodness. No, seriously, can you imagine? Because I feel like that would be kind of fun. Think about it. Just think about it.
Erase, scratch.
Okay. Yeah. So not only is Pisspot Vandy now courting or attempting to court Solavita, but Chauncey may be the illegitimate.
I had blocked that from my memory. I did not need that back.
Hey, we're just having fun. We're just having a fun night. It's gonna be great.
The dude brought you the clean cheese. Come on.
Yeah. I see it now.
The mostly clean cheese.
He wiped it off with a dusty rag.
He's like a stock. You're buying low to get high. Like he's on the rise,
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying.
And anyway, Mrs. Solavita Pisspot sounds great.
I think he would do Pisspot Randy, nay, Sarah.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it would be.
He would take on your name, clearly.
Yeah.
Pisspot Randy. I just like how we just made him into like Pisspot Randy, like this Venice, this sort of like Renaissance Venice, and just got some random like Texan or whatever that's showing up. What an idiot! So dumb.
So good.
All right. Well, it's been a couple weeks, so let's dive back in. Let's play quick summary, and then we'll get back to it because we left off with some interesting situations. So last session, Fortuna and Solavita, you were doing some digging into like the history of the family, some old lore, and you had actually gone back to the legitimate bastard to do some reading. You're trying to learn more about the attackers that have attacked your family, that have captured your matriarch, she's gone. She's missing. Like that is a big deal. Solavita, you basically concluded that there's this pirate shanty, and what's kind of that suggests like there was about a story about like pirates that kind of when the sun, they were cursed, and when the sun came, they had to get back to the sea, and kind of something similar is going on with your assassins, and that could be something what has to do with why they keep dissolving to salt. But you also were able to notice that they have some kind of ward on them, some sort of protection, as if someone with very high quality like sorcery skills has been attempting to delay the effects. They've been laying like some sort of residue to protect them. And then Fortuna, you learned from Watch Captain Artura that other members of your family have been assassinated across Eversink. There were 3 names. They kind of threw out a couple that died, unfortunately, that were successful in their attacks. Randy, as we mentioned, was also there, helped you move some of the statues that Solavita created when she was initially attacked. But you all did discover that they were hollow. There weren't people inside. They had somehow dissolved inside of it. Elsewhere, the guys, they went for a little walk to the Valtieri warehouses to follow up on the bronze signet ring that Chauncey and Pisspot Randy found. Arkadiy had a very frank conversation with Chauncey about some of his behavior with Pelletier. Arkadiy mentioned a plan to get Chauncey to learn Pelletier's like secrets, and then maybe take some of the people out that are holding down the Maywan name, including Alpha Vieira, Pelletier, and even Eliana. At the warehouse, the 3 of you spoke with twin brothers Mariano and Luciano Valtieri, who claimed to know nothing. But then Chauncey, you dropped a name that kind of seemed to rattle them, which was Il Regano, or the Spider of Sag Harbor. And the brothers changed their tune. Mariano said he lost the ring while playing poker with some sailors that kind of matched these assassins. And then as the group was parting, Arkadiy shook Mariano's hand and caught a vision of something more that Mariano had not been revealing. And that was when he was drunken. He was down by the docks. and he stumbled onto a clandestine meeting between some of these assassins and this much too elegant woman to be hanging out with them and down in this neighborhood. But the woman somehow noticed that Arkadiy was spying somehow and like pushed him out of the vision. Afterwards, Vincent, you led the three of you to a tavern in Sag Harbor by the name of the Hollow Lantern, where you were instructed to talk to the bartender and tell them that you were there for your exams. And so they walked you through a fake wall, a false wall. And eventually you found yourself in an octagonal chamber. You were fighting wax shapes of your family members. And I listened back. You took out Arkadiy, you took out Solavita's summoned golem, and you hurt Solavita. But Fortuna and Chauncey were like siren songing you in a way and kind of getting to your morale a bit. Back in the tavern, Chauncey, you were getting drunk and you were singing sea shanties, and it was going really well. But you're pretty drunk, and you have a -1 penalty, sort of any kind of physical thing that you do for the rest of the scene.
Yep.
So don't forget about that. And then Arkadiy, while you started to move back into the shadows, you noticed a sudden streak of cold kind of down the back of your neck. And then you saw a very familiar face from a distant land, someone a little bit older than the last time you saw them. It was a young student of a mage that you know well by the name of Vitoli Rask, who you assassinated back in Buzrek before being sent off here to Eversink. So that's the full summary. So let's dive back in. I want to start. I know since we have a couple people on some sort of action moments here and there. Let's start with Solavita and Fortuna and see what they're up to first. So the last we saw of you, the two of you were, you're still in the attic. It's late at night. You haven't heard from the guys. There was talk of possibly going and finding them, or there was talk of doing something else. So what do you think the two of you would be trying to do next?
Listen, either way, we are not staying here as long as Pisspot Randy keeps entering the door.
Well, I think we found about all we're going to find here tonight.
Okay. Yes, so we can definitely leave at this point in time, and I eyed the door. Hopefully, we can go out the window now. How good is your jumping?
Not.
Oh dear.
No, we can just walk out. There's no need to hide from the man. We have things to do, and this is where he works.
Yeah, so the quickest way is out this window. I've done it before. You can totally jump it.
You can go out the window, niece, if you so choose. I'm going to walk down the stairs and out the front door like a proper lady.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not the proper lady. I wish you luck in your conversation with Piss Point. Don't agree with me. Good luck with your conversation with Randy. I think. Do we remember where Etta Yanitar was, or should we just go to the Architects Guild and talk to them because she had the tools?
Well, either of those two things would seem important. I think we perhaps got a little distracted here, but she was our best lead to possibly what has happened to our dear matriarch. And we should.
Well, the boys are dead, so let's go find the Architects Guild.
Whatever do you mean? Is your source?
I don't know. I just got the premonition.
That prophecy. Suddenly, Solavita, 8 points in prophecy, just knows. Okay. All right,
I don't think we have any way of finding them, so we might as well do what we can.
Yeah, so I think we'll probably go together. First, look into the architects. You said.
Yeah, I've been getting sort of cozier with them. I've got 2 points in Architects Guild, and you're a little bit better at talking to people than I am. I'm going to jump out the window now.
And Fortuna, just without even hiding it, rolls her eyes at this, and also a little bit wishes that she could jump out of windows, but that is not something that she is able to do. So she kind of swishes her skirts and kind of walks with a purpose just down the stairs and out the door is really what
as you're leaving though. Randy will be like, "Hey, don't you worry, Fortuna. I'll make sure nothing happens to Solavita. She's under my protection. Just got it taken care of. No worries. I'll stay in guard if I have to.
She actually left already. I appreciate the offer.
What? But I was watching the door like a hawk, because I hear they watch things really well, and I didn't see her leave.
You did not miss anything? She is a sneaky one.
Yes, she is. That's really impressive. Oh,
have a good night, Mr. Pot.
What? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Randy's fine. Okay, so the Fortuna, you leave. You shut the door in his face, and the two of you head off in the direction of probably the Canal Guild house that's probably closest to your house, to your home. Okay, so as you all are traveling, nighttime, we're gonna cut over to Arkadiy and Chauncey. So we're inside of this tavern, and there's I think I said something like a dozen people or so, Chauncey, that you are drinking with, and you and all of them, you don't notice what's going on between Arkadiy and this other person, but you're drinking and you're singing and you are just having a grand old time.
Yes.
Okay, Arkadiy, you feel a coldness wash over you. And so I'm going to roll a die now to see if she actually hits you with what she's doing. And then we'll dive in. Okay. So that is a 5 against your health health threshold.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a hit.
So you feel this immense bit of cold just start to rake down the back of your neck, down your shoulders and into your arms, and you look down and you can see your arm is frosting. And damage wise, this is only 4. It's a bad roll. Only 4 points of damage. If you have any armor, it's health. It goes against health. And you see as she reaches out with her hand that her fingertips are kind of glowing, and you can tell that she seems to be manipulating something. And as you look at your own arm, you just see these crystals are beginning to form. Your hand is kind of becoming a little bit harder to grip things. But I'm gonna turn it over to you. What do you want to do, Arkadiy?
So I want to duck down and kind of move around behind the bar area, kind of get behind people and then disappear. And I want to activate my where'd he go? Try for a stealth roll to disappear and then reappear behind her.
Okay. All right. And it's a crowded enough room that you can probably pull this off without a whole lot of there's light because there's a lot of lanterns, but it's definitely crowded. So I think that makes sense that you're kind of trying to get yourself lost in the various people here. Okay. So you're doing. Sorry, I'm trying to remember how this works. It's been a couple.
Usually against
a couple days.
I think.
Yeah. All right. So there's 2. So there's just specifically against her, but I am going to put this against
the bodyguard too.
Yeah, the bodyguard. Exactly. All right. So this is going to be a -1 to your stealth attempt because he does have an alertness modifier.
I am going to spend 3 of my stealth.
Okay.
And 1 point of prophecy that gives me a +3 to stealth.
I like it.
Specifically. So this will be supposed to be +6. So an 8 in total.
8 in total. That is definitely going to succeed. So you slip in and you can see that her bodyguard doesn't move away from her side, but you can tell that he has drawn a weapon. At this point, you can see it's not unlike what you have, like an elongated knife, not quite a sword. But you see he kind of pulls that out and he is eyeing and looking around, and she is holding out her hand and those kind of glowing fingertips as if she's scanning the crowd and looking for you. But you do seem to have kind of slipped away, and they don't seem to notice you as you have made it. What next?
So I'm going to appear behind her, or slightly behind and to the side of her, and I'm going to spend my point in tactics of death to get a second action, which has to be an attack, but that's okay because I'm going to attack her.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull and stab one of my sea axes through her ear because this is the kind of person who deserves a knife in the ear.
Okay.
Ayo.
You would know.
I would know.
He is the expert. The knives and ears. All right.
And I will I'll spend 5 points of warfare.
All right.
So I want this to be a good hit. Please, somebody help me here. Yes! An 11.
Excellent.
Ooh.
Okay. Before you roll damage, I am going to trigger an ability by the bodyguard, which is called Bodyguard, which basically means he takes the hit. Like the hit still goes through, you still do damage, except he is going to, at the last second, kind of throw himself as he sees the flash of your blade, and he's going to throw himself. And instead of the knife going into her ear, it kind of just, as he reaches out an arm, it just kind of stabs directly through like his bicep. So go ahead and roll your damage and let me know what you're doing. And don't forget, you rolled an 11, so that's like a crit if you wanted to use the crit version, or if you had the AoE. Okay.
I want to do the crit.
Okay. So it's an extra D6 per 4 over. And so this is going to be, what do you have, an 11? So you're only going to get the one, unfortunately. 12 would have been what you wanted. Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Well, I couldn't have gotten 12. That's what I spent.
So close.
But because I was attacking from stealth, I do get +1 to damage due to skullduggery.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. Okay. So what's the total? Where are we at here?
And that's +1, so 10.
+1, so a total of 10. Okay. That is going to mangle the hell out of his arm. You nearly
minus, and if he's got any armor, it bypasses 2 points of armor.
And he has 2 points of armor, so it'll bypass all of his armor. So all 10 points go through, and he is not down, but you can definitely he's still got health remaining. But as the blade goes in, you just rip it in the right through the armor, and then his bicep muscle just kind of falls out of the skin, and he screams as the pain wrenches through him. Okay.
As a free action, can I yell out, Chauncey, dear cousin, perhaps a little aid here?
Of course. And she is gone, so she started initiative. I gave the initiative over to you because it seemed more fun. So you have Chauncey, and you have the bodyguard that you can choose to give it to. So who are you giving it to? Chauncey then?
No, I'm giving it to the bodyguard.
Aww.
Okay.
I don't want them to go back to back. I want you to end and then give it to me.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Taking him out, man. You gotta trust me. I got this, man. I got this.
Okay, he is.
I've got your shadow, man.
Okay. All right. He is going to. I think it just makes sense that he is going to, with his other arm, and he's just going to just stab down wildly as one arm is now hanging limply, and she is like backing behind him. He is going to bring his blade down onto you. I'm going to spend some malice to boost that roll. Okay, so this is going to be okay. Yeah, this is going to be a total of 7 on the hit. So that's just a regular hit. But I will spend 3 more malice to trigger his extra damage. So after successfully hitting, I can spend 3 malice to gain a bonus die of health or morale damage. And so he is going to try to do an extra point of damage because he's not long for this world. So this is going to be 2d6.
I am going to spend a point of spot frailty to gain 4 points of armor.
Absolutely. Ooh. Okay. All right. Here we go. So it's going to be 2d6 plus 1. That's a 3 and a 5 plus 1 is 9. 9 points of damage. Minus your
armor. 1 point of armor, so 5 points of armor, so 4 points of damage.
Okay, so 4 points go through as he stabs down. You kind of turn and shift your way. Your clothing manages to help kind of slow the blade or at least make it move from a more vulnerable position. But he stabs down into you. He's a big, tall man, and he kind of comes down over top, like into the top of your shoulder, but it just misses like the jugular, essentially, as the two of you are in really close contact with one another. Okay, so then I'm going to toss it to Chauncey then. So Chauncey, okay. What's up, buddy? What do you want to do, you drunken fool?
So, come on. I'm not
drunk. You're drunk.
I'm not drunk. In fact, you think I'm drunk and incompetent, but I have dancing partners. I'm going to do some swirly whirly, spinning around the room. You're not going to see this shit coming. Do some like kicks up in the air, dancing, hey, 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 and then pow! Yeah.
Okay. So you look
I will
over.
actually do it.
In my head, it's Michael Flaherty in the river dance.
Because I'm drunk, I will do a physical attack for the first time ever.
All right.
Regardless of the minus one.
You will have a minus ones, but I appreciate this. This is great. You hear Arkadiy shout out. You look over in sort of a drunken haze through some of the crowd around you, and everyone's like around this big table, right? And you're all, and you look over and you just see him swing it, and this big guy stab down into him. You see a woman behind them is starting to swirl and kind of create these weird, like kind of blue runes in the sky right in front of you. So you charge in, and you're going for the one that Arkadiy is
I will
already stabbed?
I'm gonna spend all my warfare. So I'm clicking them all so to make sure to subtract them.
Okay.
But then, he will.
Okay.
Yeah, he does a little twirly whirly, uses his friends in the room. And he'll end up with a 6.
Okay, a 6 is a hit, not a crit. So do your damage as you come up to this guy, and his arm is limping, and he's stabbing down with one in this sort of like crazed haymaker kind of swing.
Is it just Chauncey, a D6, you come up, or is it a D6
it's a D6. It's usually a D6 plus 1 as long as you have something resembling a weapon of some kind. So yeah, whatever it is you're hitting him with.
So my minimum roll will be a 4.
Okay.
But I'll take that 5 instead. We'll do 6 points of damage.
6 points. Okay, man. Yours, however, is not armor piercing.
No,
it's not armor piercing. So you get him. He looks as you start smashing. Now, are you using like a stein or are you using a weapon? What are you using?
Yeah, I think he kind of goes to really where he's got the cup in his hand, spinning around, and just kind of like, being a jackass, and at the last second, just breaking a mug over his head.
And he's like, this guy's like standing around. He's literally on the ropes. He's like a boxer who's just taken like 6 or 7 haymakers, and it looks like just one small push will knock him over. But he's still standing. But each of those like stabs, as he's like just trying to crazily stab at Arkadiy, each one of them is just slower and slower each time. But he is still, in fact, standing.
You should have had one more point of damage again from me, because I forgot to add my +1 from weapon damage. I just added the +1 from skullduggery.
Okay. Well, then I take what I just said back, because he was at 1 HP. And so Chauncey, as you come up, he's swing, and he turns to you, and he goes to swing, and you just drunkenly step out of the way, and he falls forward, head smashing against the table, and collapses to the ground. You have taken him out.
I do party like a Sag Harbor party, because the Sag Harbor party don't stop. Ha! I've got your shadow, Arkadiy.
You scream this out. You can see like half of the people in the crowd are like cheering you on, and they see what happens, like, "Argh!" And others are freaking out a little bit now as they see this woman in the corner is like kind of moving her hands around, almost like crafting these blue runes in the sky, right in the air, right in front of her. And you see other people are kind of backing away. And then the bartender, you can see at this point, is sort of running down the hall in the direction to where like Vincent has disappeared into. Chauncey, do you just give it to Arkadiy to go next as we start a new round?
Of course, yeah. Right after he says like, I've got your shadow. He's like, he gives him a knowing wink.
Okay, so Arkadiy.
So I will move in with my sea axe against the sorceress and try to take her head off with a scissor action.
Okay, go right ahead.
Because I'm almost down and feeling pretty pissed off that I got ambushed here. I'm going to spend 4 warfare and 1 point of spot frailty to give me a +3 on the attack.
Also, 3 refresh tokens in the pool from taking the bodyguard out, by the way.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Ooh.
Then I'll leave my spot frailty if it's okay with Chauncey and just take those 3 and put hold on, I gotta fix my warfare really quick. It's not
No worries. You can see she is backed into the corner. Each time, like, she's moving her hands, she doesn't seem to be fazed even remotely by the death of her bodyguard. Like, she doesn't seem in shock. She is like focused with this intense, like, vehement hatred at Arkadiy as she's drawing these runes.
okay.
And you can hear her chanting and talking. Chauncey, you probably wouldn't understand their language, but Arkadiy, you would. It was like it's what the sort of the tongue that's sort of more common, I would say, from Luzrek.
Are you doing woozy bullshit? No.
So he comes up with the C axes.
Okay.
4 and 11 again in total, bypassing 2 points of physical armor if she has physical armor.
That will once more. That is a crit, but not, but only by 1. So you don't get all the way up to the second one. So yeah, you can do it. You can activate a crit again if you like.
I do want to activate a crit, and I am going to go ahead and spend that 1 point of spot frailty that I wasn't going to spend to give me an extra damage die. So I can hit her with 3. $12 points of damage.
Okay, you stab in the first stab, as you kind of just charge through like the runes that she has placed in front of her, and you reach in, you just feel your arm completely thrown backwards, almost to the point where your shoulder nearly comes out of its socket. You see the runes themselves begin to fade and stab again, and the second stab through actually makes it, as she seems to have had some kind of protective ward that protected her from some of the damage that you just did, in addition to her armor, which you're going to bypass. So the total was 12. Is that what you said?
12, yep.
Okay, so some of that goes through. And you can tell that the runes that she was drawing have begun to fade and fall away. And it looks like now, for the first time, you can see she has some concern on her face. Okay. We want to do next, Arkadiy, do you want to pass it to somebody?
Chauncey, dear cousin, finish this frozen bitch.
You better.
I've got this.
You're doing a lot of damage. Okay.
I'm sure she can.
Otherwise, we are going to die.
Sorcerers are tough, man. Oh, goodness. They are.
The Levita and Fortuna are just sort of like walking.
Along. I wonder what the guys are doing. Yeah.
I'm forgive me, I'm taking a second just to look at one of my abilities to see if it could maybe be in line.
Okay.
Like, for example, would you say like this is chaotic circumstances and I've got a crowd that's kind of with me and they're kind of with, like, we're very much in sync, right? This is a group of people that are really with me. So like
at least half of them are cheering you on.
A point of command that we've been here partying, having a good time. They just cheered me on for taking out that asshole that tried to stab a dude, right? And I'm like, that bitch is as cold as ice. She's trying to ruin our party. Get her! And just use a point of command to get this crowd of people to swarm her. Because I'm not going to go attack a sorceress. God, no. I'll convince all these other drunks to do it for me.
Okay. She's going to kill them all with a point of corruption.
That's fine. Gosh. I don't give a shit about them.
He says in his head, not where they can hear it.
Not out there.
He says to the GM in his mind.
So how do we want to mechanically resolve it? Like you could do the command, the point of command to get them to attack. Do you want like me to just create a mob attack for them, or did you want to like flavor them as like a sway attack? Like how do you want to stand?
I'm happy either way. I'd be glad to do it as a sway attack, maybe. But if I do sway, it's not attacking. The reason I did that versus a sway attack is I want to attack her physically because they're two different I know that's gaming it a little
Yeah.
bit, but at the same time, like it makes sense to get in a physical hit on her. And I'm also worried that a sorceress is going to be more. I feel like
Resistance too.
physically assaulting her is going to be more effective. Like getting a crowd to
Okay.
lynch her is the better way.
Yeah, so I would say like if they're going to attack, they can attack. That's fine. They are not the heroes of the story,
No.
so they're not going to be.
I just
good
want
at
them
this.
to like swarm her, and like I assume they're probably not going to get the job done. But she may spend her turn murdering them to keep herself from getting murdered. And hey, win-win.
Okay, sure.
It's worth a
We'll
shot.
see.
Chauncey, roll a d6. I'm gonna
See.
just treat them like a mob. I don't want to
Yeah.
roll individually. So just roll a d6. So we'll see if they hit.
Do. 5.
Love to see the
Okay,
look on this
5 is
woman's
gonna
face.
hit.
It's like,
So they come up and they just start surrounding her. They're like, "Yeah, I can get her. Hey, what are you doing? Take your magic and leave." And they're like, "Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one." Okay, so Give me a D6.
Kind.
I'll say give me 2d6 for damage because there are quite a few of them. So it feels like they probably will do a little bit more than just 1d6. So yeah, as they come in, they start swinging and pounding. 7 points of damage. All right, that's her armor. All right, she is still kicking, but she is now completely swarmed in the corner by this mob that has pushed past Arkadiy, and they're like punching her and kicking her. One of them picks up a chair and smashes it down, and she seems very overwhelmed at this point. So yeah, I think she's gonna pop, and it's her turn, and she's gonna get to go twice in a row. So I think her first action is going to be an attempt to just basically just try to do some sort of repulsive, like ice shattering aura and see if she can rip through them. Anybody essentially in point blank range. So I'm going to say all of them. As I said, they push past Arkadiy. So I'm going to say all of them are going to get hit first. I'm going to spend some malice to increase this. Okay. Oh, God. That is a 9. So that is a 9 plus, so 4 plus 5 is 9. So that's enough for a blast. So let me roll damage. I'm going to spend 3 for her extra damage ability and roll 2d6s on this.
oh wow.
Okay, so that's gonna be 9 points of damage to every single one in point blank range right now, basically. And so she's just gonna and you watch, Chauncey, as all of those drunken fools that you just sent in are torn to shreds by this like rippling of ice that comes through them. There's blood everywhere, their bodies fall. And now everybody in the tavern has like just started to absolutely panic at this point. You see people running, leaping out of windows, rushing for the door. Some of them are hiding and cowering. And it now just really becomes the three of you. And since that was the end of one turn, she's going to pick herself to go for the second turn.
I am going to spend a point of vigilance to seize the initiative.
Excellent. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Spend
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Thank you.
I'm not going to have
God.
any points
Yeah.
left after this
I
fight.
don't want to die.
So I will spend my last 2 points of warfare and my point of skullduggery as I kind of sneak in to stab her to give me a +3 on this. So it'll be +5.
Okay.
And those
dear.
resources.
So it's going to be this
Use 'em.
roll plus 3 more because I can.
Okay. Okay.
So 9 to hit.
Plus 3 more. So do you mean 11 or do you mean? Okay.
No,
So, okay.
6 plus the. Yeah.
Okay. So
plus
11. All right.
9.
So let me check hers. And this is against health. So yeah, that is enough for a crit. Yes.
All right. I am not going to spend any more points because I'm almost out of everything now. Let's just hope for a good roll.
Okay.
I've said that before.
7.
7 bypassing 2 points of armor.
All right. Because it bypasses, describe how you take her out.
So I think as she blows out this entire crowd, he was already moving around behind her. And as she starts to cast again, he just puts the sea axe against the base of her skull, right at the cervical spine. And he just whispers to her, "You should have stayed a Luzrik," and then stabs it up through her brain.
As you go to pull the blade out, though, you see that as you pull it out, there is this coating of frost on the blade itself. And that coating of frost suddenly and rapidly begins to grow up the blade and up your arm. Your arm becomes this frozen mass. And you see as she like spins and turns, her head brainless effectively, she says to you in the local language of Luzrek, she says, "I will be with you always." And then she falls, and you feel this ice just sort of move up your arm, up your neck. Chauncey, you see it, and then it kind of begins to sort of trickle and fall down. Something just happened, essentially. Okay. So you look around the two of you. You see two bodies on the ground. You are in an otherwise empty tavern. And I'm going to cut to the basement-ish of that tavern where Vincent has recently killed a version of Arkadiy and a golem that Solavita has created, wax version. You are in an octagonal room, to remind you, Vincent. There do not appear to be any entrances or exits. You just see 4 different masses of wax, 2 of which, one of which looks like Chauncey, one of looks like Fortuna, and both of them with their mouths wide open, and they are calling out some horrific sonic charge. You see Solavita also seems to be still in one piece, but is showing signs of the damage that you had done to her. And then you can see on the ground, beginning to slowly coalesce, you can see the remnants of Wax Arkadiy coming back together. Vincent,
hey,
I'm going to give it to you. Yeah.
Real quick, though, before we move on.
Yeah.
Because I know I'll forget otherwise. Did we get any refresh tokens for...
Yes, 5 from her. 5 from her.
How many you want,
Okay.
Chauncey?
What do you take? How do you want?
Not asking for any reason. I don't need a refresh desperately.
I'll take-
You take as much as you want. I might take like a point of warfare back, so I at least have one.
I'll take the other 4 if you don't mind, so I have a little bit in warfare in case we get attacked again.
Yeah. So I think there's like something bad that happens if you don't have any in warfare. I forget exactly.
So if you don't have any, if you don't have any points like in your
Ranks.
pool, that's
Oh.
fine. It's just if you've never put any points in warfare, that's where you could potentially have trouble
okay.
attacking. Yeah, but if you just because you ran out of pool points doesn't mean you're suddenly not good at warfare anymore.
Okay.
All right, Vincent, you're all by yourself. These Fortuna and Chauncey are screaming. Solavita is slowly kind of like getting her footing back from your corruptive blast, and Arkadiy is coalescing back into his waxy mass. It is your turn, Vincent. What would you like to do?
Like, this is uncanny. Chauncey can't keep his mouth shut. Let's do my sorcerer chains against him.
Okay, so you're gonna throw your chains out at Chauncey. All right. Are you putting any sorcery points into the roll?
Yeah, I'll do 3.
Okay, go ahead and give me the sorcery roll then.
A 6.
All right. 6 is good. 6 is good. So your chains come out. Are you just trying to sort of wrap the chains around his face so he doesn't, and like kind of silence him, or are you trying to do damage to him?
This is the damage. This will be moral damage. It'll be like wrapping around his like opposite arm and leg, trying to pull him apart.
All right. So you have a
Ordeal.
D6 plus 1, unless you wanted to add anything to it. Any bonuses that you're going to look to, or
Yeah, can I-
pump some corruption into it?
It's possible I could spend some like ancient nobility spend to get a D6. Maybe
Because
my blood
you-
has that sorcery in it.
Okay. I actually like that argument.
Okay.
But what that does mean is that as you start to channel into it, you kind of hear like an old woman's voice suddenly manifests in your mind. And it's just, yes, let the power flow through you. And you've never heard this before in any time you've ever cast. So yeah, go ahead and take the extra D6 for that. And give me
12
the total. Describe how you pop Chauncey like he's a bad pimple.
Chains just rapidly wrap around his head, pull it apart from his body, goes flying across the room.
And so his body just smashes against one of the walls, and you just see this big, like this big waxy, slipping chunk of wax has come down. His face is no longer recognizable. He's in 1,000 different pieces here and there. But again, all of them are kind of slowly pulsing back together. You have Sola Vita and Fortuna that you could give the initiative to, Vincent, unless you have like the seize initiative thing like Arkadiy used. Would you like to do, or an extra action, I should say, if you have that ability, or that might just be a.
Yeah, I don't think I have any of that, so I'll just pass it on to Sola Vita.
That might be a adversary thing, not a. I might be getting that confused. Okay, so which one do you want? Sola Vita.
Sola Vita, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think Sola Vita, Wax Sola Vita, having seen you kill her small golem friend, will, and she's not looking good. Like you did damage her already, but didn't do enough to actually kill her. Okay. Okay. You see she's going to sort of reach down and like hold a hand out in the direction of Arkadiy's mass. Arkadiy's mass begins to harden into something resembling sort of stone-like consistency, and just almost like with her mind, she like lifts it up and like hurls it in your direction as this hardened chunk of Arkadiy comes flying at you. I will roll for this. That's a 6 on the die, so it's a 7 total. This is going to be less against your health and more against the horror of seeing a hardened, statuified, waxy golemic Arkadiy, his face coming at you. So this is against your, don't forget she does morale damage, right? Okay. So it's not a crit though, at least. All right, that's 3 total morale damage against you.
I'd like to spend my last point of Spirit Sight to increase my grit and armor, grit and armor, to 3 for the rest of the scene. If that's possible.
All right. So that would put you at how much grit? 4?
Just 3, because I have 0.
You have 0.
Yeah.
You should have 1. Everyone should have 1 grit if you've got all your items. Yeah, everyone should have 1 grit if you've got all 5 of your starting items. So, okay. Then Solveta obviously will give it over to Fortuna, and Fortuna will scream this horrific screech once more, and will attempt to bleed your ears dry. I rolled another 6. So that is a 7 total. Again, and then her damage is going to be 6 damage. What's your total grit?
It's 4.
All right, so you take 2 grit. Where does that put you? Or 2 morale, excuse me.
It's me at 0. What happens when that?
At 0, you're okay. It's when you go negative that you got to start doing rolls. However, Fortuna is going to just give it right back to Sola Vita, and she is going to do the same thing to Chauncey's body on the new round and hurl that face, this sort of melted, hardened, waxified face of Chauncey is now hurled at you as well. And it's less about it physically hitting you, and she's just kind of bombarding you with pieces of your family. And that's a 4 this time, which should still be enough. It's a new round. That's a 2 on the die, so that's a total of 3 points of morale damage coming in your direction.
Doesn't break my grit.
Okay, was that for the rest of the fight? The
rest of the scene.
That you did.
So if
for the
fight the scene.
Okay, so yeah, you're good. And then Sola Vita will pass it back towards Fortuna, who will continue her ear-piercing scream. That's a 6, and then she will continue to do her damage, and that is a 4 + 1. That's 5 damage this time. But
I have to do something here.
Okay.
I have to. So with the scraps of these statues flying towards me, it'll cut my pocket open, and out flies a journal from Sola Vita. And then I'll spend a point of Forgotten Lore to create a ward that'll protect me for some damage.
Okay. If you do that as a reaction, though, you need to have the flashback ability. Do you have flashback ability from preparation?
I don't have any of that.
Yeah, so you can so to do it more like a reaction in the moment, you have to actually have the flashback.
I see.
Otherwise, so that wouldn't work in this case.
Then I'll just
other ideas.
The point for extra grit.
Okay.
So it'll put me to 7 for the round.
Okay. So you are just sort of doing everything you can to withstand this horrific attack by your family, the screeching of Fortuna, the wax dead bodies of Chauncey and Arkadiy being hurled at you. But it is your turn in a new round. Actually, no, yeah, this is your first turn in the round. So it is you're the last turn to go in this round.
Continue the bombardment. This towards Fortuna. Do 5 spends.
Solovita does look like she has taken damage, just so you know.
Yeah, I'm hoping for like a blast that can chain onto her.
Okay, roll well then. My hair is driving me nuts right now. It's been driving me nuts all day. It's been a windy day, and I can't get it. Like it's constantly like falling down into my ear. It's freaking me out.
Is 9 enough?
9 is enough. 9 is enough. Because remember that a blast is like 3 over and a crit is 5 over.
Yeah.
And you have to make a choice. So if you're going to do a blast, say you're doing a blast, perfect. So you're going to want it to hit both of them. So give me the. You want to spend any points to get more damage?
Let's see if I have things left.
Because I was reviewing it, your drives, you can use your drive to get a +1 on a single die roll, or to attempt a general ability you have 0 ranks in, which isn't here, but you can get a +1 in your single die roll by using a drive.
Do you think one of your drives is helping you in this situation? You could get a +1 on your damage roll?
What are the drives you think?
It's your like
what is best in life?
Yeah, the 3 things. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Trying to help.
That is
sorry.
Justice for the oppressed, spirit seeking, and sadness. So are any of these drives?
I think getting attacked by your family is pretty sad. That's sad.
I'm fighting my family right now.
Okay. All right. And you can only do this once per drive per adventure. So this will be the only time you do
That's
this.
fine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So do you just start to weep? What does it look like, Vincent? As you just like, I'm sorry, and you just what are you doing?
This kind of brings memories of the accidents that I've killed other family members before, and now I'm voluntarily doing it. It's just really sad.
Okay.
That does connect really well.
I like it. Give me that damage roll.
5 + 1, 6.
Well, you have a +1 for normal, and then you have an extra +1 from the drive, so it's actually +2. So you should get 7.
Sweet.
Okay, so 7 points of damage. So that's going to.
That's just Fortuna.
Describe how you. What's that?
And that's just to Fortuna, then the blast goes to Solovita.
So describe how you take out Fortuna. Fortuna doesn't have a lot of health. So describe what that looks like. Sorry.
Yes, please describe how you take out Fortuna.
Yes, describe how you take out Chauncey's mom.
Maybe.
I mean, Chauncey, do you know who your mother is? It could be Fortuna.
We don't know that it's not Fortuna.
Don't know that it's not. She's the right age.
Yeah.
So my chains are clanging around, and my tears are balling up. And those tears are diluting the clay solution that Solovita is making, which makes her fall apart.
Okay. So you see her fall apart. And you said you were using your blast. So you get, hang on, I want to make sure we do this right again. I'm not sure. I can't remember if it's just you do the same damage to everybody else or do you roll separately? You don't remember?
You can do the average or I can roll again.
It's up to you.
I'll roll again.
Okay.
So it's just a straight.
Solovita was already damaged, so she's not going to be long for this fight.
A 3.
Okay, that's still enough to take her out.
Okay.
So describe how you then take out Solovita as well in this process.
There's just chains flying everywhere. It's cutting the clay creatures pieces, chips of them flying all around. Those ricocheting into each other. Well, it's just a giant mess that happens.
So after you kind of catch your breath, like it's that moment after like when you're a kid, you've ever watched a kid just cry way too much and they're trying to kind of get their breath back. And that's kind of what we see as like Vincent you take you try to get your composure back, and you look around and you can see the half recognizable semblance of your family members all around you, like torn to shreds, ripped apart, mangled beyond comprehension in some ways, faces twisted, bodies twisted, severed. You can see Arkadiy like severed from Solovita's spells. And as you get your composure, you realize that you are still in an octagonal room. And when you look around, you don't really see any way clearly out. But it's then, like as you're standing here, you just see like a section of the wall begin to slowly, like the bricks of it begin to slowly and then start to sort of slide apart. And you see stepping through where this sort of dark doorway opened up, you see the familiar form of Ludovica Tanucci, who you had met earlier today in the markets below, well, the black markets below Temple Market, dressed identically to how you saw her before, kind of this elegant red gown, black hair with streaks of white and red. And you can tell as she comes in, she has a kind of a grin on her face, and you just hear hers just start clapping.
Let me mourn my fallen family. I'm just on my knees crying to them there.
And she walks up to you, and she places a hand on your shoulder. My dear Vincent, you are a very sweet boy. The tears you shed for them they warm my heart. But these people you call family, they would not shed tears for you. They left you to rot in that prison for 12 years. Without a thought for you. Without a thought for your well-being. As you were in the pits. The ones that you and I both know are not kind to those with our abilities. And they left you. Do not shed tears for them. Do you wish to join those who would value you for what you truly are, and who would, if any harm befell you, would stop at nothing to ensure you are not avenged, rescued, protected? Do you wish to join us, Vincent, Guy?
I'm this far to say no. So yes.
She's sort of standing there, and she's got her left hand kind of on your shoulder. You see, like, with a flourish, she suddenly manifests what looks like a tome in her hand. And then she holds it out to you. Put your hand on the cover.
Bring my hand up on it.
Vincent Guy, do you swear now and forever to forsake the binds of family?
I swear.
If she's looking at you, and if this tome is perhaps aiding in their ability to tell truth, would they sense deception from you, Vincent? Don't worry. They can all see you, but their characters can't. So don't worry. You can do whatever you like.
Not mine.
Okay. And you feel a slight warmth in the actual tome that your hand is over top of. And she says, "You speak truth. Good. Do you swear from now until your end that you will join our cabal of sorcerers, that you will aid us in our quests for truth, for power?
I swear.
Waits. Again, that little bit of warmth comes through, and you see the smile grows bigger. Good. Then rise, Vincent Guy, and welcome to the college, the last college. And as she kind of helps you up, and then she gives you like a very soft kiss on each side of your cheek. And then she kind of throws her hand in a way towards the door that she just came through, and you see it opens a little bit wider. And then she says to you, now, come with me. I will introduce you to the rest of us. And you can see that the wall that opens up is not the same wall that you walked through to get here.
I'll follow in her footsteps.
The two of you go into this wall. You hear the sounds of stone behind you as it stitches back up. She, like with a snap, you can see she produces this little flame in her hand, and you're in this long, dark tunnel together. We're going to fade from that scene. Vincent, you specifically, there's going to be 2 general ability refresh tokens. I'm going to give you an investigative refresh token, as that was a significant decision you just made.
Oh my.
Okay. All right.
Oh my, indeed.
Did you not think it was? I literally said you have to forsake the binds of family and you join the college. You literally just betrayed your family. Good for you, though, man. Good for you. Cut ties. Cut the ties. Okay.
Well, let's face it, they screwed him over for
They really did.
long time.
12 years. They just left him in there.
I'd like to point out
Technically,
that Arkadiy was not
one
there
person.
during the off point.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
There's one person in the quote unquote family group that would have been there.
I think Solavita could have been there too.
Like
Younger,
12
though.
years old.
Yeah. But like he was, how old is Vincent?
Late 30s, mid 30s.
Late 30s. So Vincent, you would have, I think you would have known Vincent, right? Like you would have known Vincent.
All right.
At your age, 12 years old. But you're right. A 12-year-old doesn't necessarily have any power or anything like that. But.
That's a responsibility to go check on how Uncle Vincent's doing in
prison.
This is really on. Yeah. So that's fair to say. It's fair to say. So I'm fine to blame Fortuna. Okay. Totally. I'm totally fine with that. Okay. So we're going to cut then from there.
No. Sorry.
Mama Bear. Still called her Mama Bear again. Remember that? Oh God. Good old alien days. Those were so fun. That was so fun.
Whatever Mama Bear says I need to do.
Mama Bear. Oh, it's so good. Okay. We're going to cut over to Fortuna Solavita deep into the night. You're walking past, you see the moon, you see the stars just wafting of clouds ahead. The streets are not nearly as full as they are during the day. More than once, you got the general feel that maybe you were being watched, but nothing seemed to have happened along the way, the two of you walking together. When you passed over into Giglio Hill, you saw signs of familiar city watch officers and just guards and such. And, passed by some familiar folks on the streets who are, some of them offering condolences, others you can tell looking at you and moving away and snickering in the darkness at your fates. But eventually you find yourselves over to the this guild house, right? So this place, I think we've described it before, like Solavita, you've been here once before, you've met with Mario and Luigi. Jesus, I can't believe we did that. But yeah, you met with the two of them and
you said Mario. What was I going to do?
Steve?
No.
And Steve is definitely possible. And so, yeah, you spent 2 points. So you get access to most of the places in this guild house, other than probably like guild master chambers and probably a probably a place where they've got some like, there's like a flood depth archive here and there where they probably keep that stuff to higher level things. But otherwise, like you access the main gallery, you can get into sort of the main rooms, you can look at the Great City map, all these types of things. So you come inside. Fortuna, you also have a rank, I think, in the guild. So you're not as perhaps as advanced as Solavita, but in her company, I think the two of you, no one would look twice at the two of you walking around here whatsoever. And some of them would even be more deferential, I would say, to you in some ways. Are you seeking out Luigi?
Sure, yeah, let's go with the people we know.
Okay. So you find him, it's late at night, so you probably find him sort of wrapping up for the day, probably finished dinner. And maybe he and a few of the other engineers, or excuse me, architects and like canal watchers might be in some kind of like shared lounge, sipping away at like brandy and smoking pipes. And they see you kind of walk in, and he's like, "Oh, Solavita, oh, I'm so very sorry. I heard have you found your grandmother? Was it?"
Oh, not yet. We're working on it and following clues. And one of the clues, the architect's tools are pretty like personal to an architect, right? You hold on to what is yours, right?
Well, yes, sometimes, yes. It depends. I suppose it depends on how you acquired them, and if you can't afford better tools, perhaps.
Take a look at these, and she'll pull out the architect's tools that she pulled out of Henrietta's sort of hidden area. There was a person called Etta Janitar. I believe she went by Henrietta sometimes. These were the tools she hid in her bed, but she's disappeared for a while, and we need to talk to her.
Yes,
Do you recognize them?
We would appreciate any assistance that you can provide.
No, sure. I'd be happy to take a look. Let me see. And he like reaches over and he kind of puts some spectacles on, and you can tell he's a little bit into his cups for the night. But he does start to look at them, and you hear him kind of like suck on his teeth. He's like kind of brings the air in through his teeth a little bit, almost like a reverse whistle. And he's this is very interesting. Yes. What was the name you said again?
So she had two, maybe more, but to us, she was known as Henrietta sometimes, or Etta Janitar. She came from outside of town, I believe. Yes, so Fortuna? Something like that?
Yes.
I remember it. Yes, and he like kind of describes the woman, and it sounds accurate, like the way,
yes.
But he's like, a few years ago, yes, perhaps 5 years ago, yes. She wanted to join the guild. She did, and she wanted to work here, and she was trying to find a sponsor for her application. I agreed, and I sent it forward, but she didn't. She was denied, and I haven't seen her before. I don't think so.
Why did they deny her? I don't.
I don't know. She's kind of looks around. She's Camian. See, I think there was concern that perhaps her interest in the workings of the city were not entirely authentic. But that is not my thinking. Of course, she was a lovely woman. I felt very bad for her, so I put a good word in for her at the opera house. I said she could get a job there. She could work on the stagecraft. They do such wonderful productions there, and she was so very crafty, you see.
Yes. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, she definitely, she was sleeping in our servants' quarters. So I wonder what the opera house said. I guess we'll find out. We'll have to go talk to them.
She was a servant for you?
Yes.
Oh. Well, that's very curious.
Yes, that's part of the problem is she was, and then she disappeared at the same time that these terrible events have happened. So we're trying to find out any leads we can, and
Well, she was far too skilled to be a servant. She is very smart. She was very good at problem solving. You see, she was good with tools. She was good with study. She was a wonderful memory. She was very, very intelligent. And you could tell he was kind of taken with her a bit. It makes me very sad to hear that she, and I mean no disrespect.
Oh, yeah.
That she fell to the role of servant within a noble house. You could make a good living working at the opera house. Huh.
Yes, it is curious that she ended up down here. It feels like, she was very smart. She ended up, unfortunately, stuck with one of the family members that was not very smart, and I do feel bad about that. But it is...
No. The main Wardens, all of them, very smart. You are very smart people.
Yes, of course. I must wonder.
Let's see, though.
Did when her application did not get approved,
yes.
is that anything that anyone in our family had a hand in it not being approved, or was that a decision of the guild?
Oh, it was this decision of the guild. No offense, but your family wouldn't have influence on guild decisions.
We don't have the money for that.
I hoped not. Just
Solavita
attempting
is
to...
the most accomplished of the main Wallens within the guild, and well, she didn't become journeyman until recently.
Yes, I've worked hard for that.
Yes, you have. We're all very excited to see what you will continue to do here. It will take us to new heights.
Yes.
Or depths.
Canal
watcher
just
joke.
A little bit.
Just a little canal humor between canal folk and engineers.
Yes. You had to be there.
And Fortuna just looks at Solavita as if Fortuna doesn't know what they're talking about, and she always has a scowl on her face anyway, and now this has just increased the scowl. Yes, I was just attempting to ascertain if there might be a motivation for some type of revenge on the family. I, of course, have every faith in the guilds. Just wanted to make sure.
Oh, you think that she's involved with the disappearance of sweet Eliana?
Well,
as my niece said, the timing of things.
I heard there were some of your family members who were murdered. I'm so very sorry. I'm so very sorry. My condolences. If there's anything I can do.
So Levita pulls her sleeve back a bit, and there's just bandages all the way up her arm. Yes, it was a little brutal sometimes.
You were attacked as well.
Yeah, every Manuelan was been attacked so far, I think. Even the ones that aren't at the main house. Just the ones that live normal life, you know?
Oh, that is so terrible. That is so terrible to do such a thing. Why would someone do such a thing? You are such a wonderful family. Such a wonderful family.
That is what we are trying to figure out.
Yes, always helping the city, always helping yourself. Heroes in your line. Yes.
And this is why Solavita needed Fortuna, because her face is just going wild behind
Fortuna. You did notice, I'll say this, Fortuna, you did kind of notice as he was examining the tools, there did seem to be like he was kind of looking at this maker's mark on it. So there's a spend available if you wanted to make a spend to sort of get this extra little bit if you would like. And there's
would that be spending my Guild of Architectures and Canal Watchers point?
Sure, you could. Yeah, I would take the ally for sure. Ally point would be perfectly fine. Okay. That
is what I will do then.
And so you just see he kind of raises an eyebrow at it, but then he kind of gets sidetracked in this conversation with Solavita.
If I can ask you though, it appears that perhaps you recognized something. Would you care to share a bit more about that, as we are desperate for information?
It's just that you said this was her tools, but the mark on here, it is from, I recognize it. It is from Cane Town. There is a machinist there, a very capable metal worker. His name is Oscar Scovard. You can even see it here. He makes his mark. The S, you can tell, is a little different than how we make it here. But yes, this is his make, and it's quite good. It is.
Solovita, can you look at that mark? I can't quite see it.
Sorry, Luigi, if you could hand that over, I'll.
Of course. So it's yours. You brought it to me. You take it back.
And
So
Solovita
Oscar,
will
his name
kind of
was.
like look at it closely
Yes.
and describe it verbally to Fortuna, and maybe make a little sketch of it in a larger fashion, like this.
It's like an O, and then there's like a serpentine like S, and then there's like two dots above and outside of the O, like an umlaut, is what you see.
Very,
Yes, he's a very
interesting.
capable. Yes, he's a very capable metalsmith. But I believe he's still working in Cane Town. Yes.
And Fortuna will look to Solovita because we had discussed where we were going first, here or Came Town. So,
Okay. But also the opera house now is so we still have two places.
Yes, but the opera house is closed down for the rest of this evening. It is quite late. Shows
Maybe
would have been finished.
Luigi, you don't know if there's any operas tomorrow. With Fortuna, we could go to the opera. It's been a while.
Of course. I don't know who's singing. I don't recall. There's so many wonderful performances, but it's been quite some time since I've been there. Of course. And you can tell he's like leaning forward
He's
when he says
waiting for
that.
an invite. Yes, I suppose. Yes, of course. We're guild members together, so if I'm going to go, it would be nice to have the company of other guild
Oh,
members.
yeah. Oh, I would be happy to accompany you. Yes. That'd be wonderful.
Yes, of course.
So at this point,
But so sorry, Luigi, but we should be going. I think time is burning, and we have to figure out sort of what we can.
of course. You poor matriarch woman. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. If I hear
You've
anything
been
at all,
very helpful.
Yes,
of course.
Well, if you see a random old lady that's lost, just let us know.
Well, I see those pretty much every day. It's
Really
just go down
old,
to the
like really old.
Oh, that's true. I heard your great grandmother is very, very old, very ancient.
Oh yes, she's very old.
Strong blood in the family, I suppose. Bones.
That we do.
Genes. Not that those have been invented yet, but whatever.
I don't know what genes are, but yes, she,
They're a type of pantaloon, very tight.
yes, I think that makes sense. From a distant land.
Yes.
Levi and
From-
Strauss.
Yes. It's a wonderful group of tailors. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So we fade out of that scene.
Bid
And then we're
farewell
going
to
to cut.
Luigi.
Yeah. And then we're going to cut back to Arkadiy and Chauncey immediately in the aftermath, getting your breather. You are alone in here as the bartender has disappeared. Most of the clientele that was living have fled. And then there are bodies all over the ground. And both of you know that sorcery and corruption was basically done here. And you can kind of feel it's kind of like a sickness begin to wash over the two of you. What's next?
Arkadiy would, shake his arm out, try to get this feeling of cold out of his body, but he's quickly going to pat down the two bodies, mainly looking to try to see if there's any indication of how they tracked him down here. Like if they've got any documents, they've got any, where they're staying or anything on them.
You don't see any documents. There's nothing like that. In fact, there's very little on their person that suggests that they, like, you might have been like an active job for them. Like
Just
they don't have
luck.
like a sketch
Bad
of you.
luck.
Yeah. You do recognize one thing though, Arkadiy, is that there's like she's wearing like some jewelry, and you see that there's a pendant that has it's probably silver, and there's a little bit of an etching in it. It doesn't look like anything that you would know the meaning of per se, but as you're standing there looking at it, you do kind of feel a little bit dizzy as you get a quick look back to the vision that you had. And you remember when the woman says, out with you. From your vision, you remember that when she did that, right kind of behind her hand, she had sort of a similar kind of pendant on that looked to be had a matching symbol. That's the one thing you would probably notice that would raise an eyebrow.
Arkadiy will grab that necklace off, wrap it up in like some dark cloth, and then stick it in a deep pocket. Hopefully she can't see through it, but who knows? And he'll turn to Chauncey. Chauncey, dear cousin, I think under the circumstance, all the bodies and the sorcery, perhaps we should retire and assume that our dear cousin Vincent will find his way back. I am
Chauncey's already climbed up.
I got blood coming down, pouring down.
Chauncey's already climbed up to find whatever the fanciest top shelf looking bottles are, to grab them so he can put them on the shelf of his bar. It doesn't matter if there's anything in them or not. Just the fact that he can put them up in his bar. He's already, being the opportunity.
You'll take the fanciest stuff that this place has. Not that they have extraordinarily fancy things. This is very much a dock dive bar. But there's like one or two halfway decent looking bottles of rum. Looks like there's a vodka of some kind, something that's imported. So you just take the imported stuff.
Arkadiy, when I joined this family, I didn't think I was going to give a fuck about anybody, because fuck all of you, right? But you are amazing, and you're in my shadow, and I'm in your shadow, and you're the best.
Cousin, I'm very fond of you too. You are like my babushka. You're so close to me, like that family. But let us retire to your bar before we get picked up by the watch and taken in.
I have some things I want to deposit there shortly, anyways.
Well, this is great news. Hopefully, Fortuna and Solovita may stop by, or we're going there anyway to look at statues. And Vincent, I have no idea. We must pray that he is okay. I pray to Morana that Vincent comes back to us soon.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fine. That's a lot of blood. I really hate sorcery. There's way too much sorcery in this family, mind you.
Absolutely. And the frost mages are the worst.
I'm just gonna say this because I we're close now, right? And your arm. Well, you are even more striking now, cousin. Ooh, oh my! You used to have the whole shattered window thing on one side of your face, and now you've got this whole other thing.
Yes, I have not had good luck with frost mages. The crackling skull, the frozen face, the blood pouring out of my body. Perhaps let us go.
Okay. Arkadiy, I swear to you, from this day forward, I will be pretty enough for the both of us.
Well, you're already definitely more pretty than I, so...
I am! That's such a low bar, though. Let's go.
It's so true.
That's fantastic. So we'll say you guys leave without alerting the watch, it seems. It's very late. You're traveling on the streets of Eversink. Do we want to say that the four of you meet up back at The Legitimate Bastard? Do we want to say that to bring the group together? Is that a fair thing to do? It's late at night, so there's a limited probably things that you would probably be able to get to do.
Yeah. Well, I imagine the metal worker is probably not open this late at night anymore.
It's probably not open now. Doesn't mean you can find where he lives, but his shop definitely wouldn't be open this late.
Luigi was a little more willing to open his door after hours than probably someone in Cape Town.
Yeah.
So we'll say that the four of you meet up at the Legitimate Bastard. We'll say it's closing time, but Randy, of course, is still there. He's like, "Hey, boss. Hey, hey, look at you. Look like you."
I've
he's like,
climbed in through the window on the outside. By the way,
yeah,
I'm currently in my attic space.
Okay. Hey, where's Solovita? Where's she at? She's around here.
she may be by in a little bit.
Did you say anything about me while you all were off gallivanting around this evening? Girls' night
It's
out.
more about what she doesn't say about you, which is never a negative thing. I've never heard one bad word about you from her mouth.
This is true. I
And she's a
believe
very
Alright.
scrupulous lady.
Mr. Pot, we are looking for our lost relative and trying to find out why all of us have been murdered today. I am.
You got murdered today. You look pretty good for someone who got murdered.
Oh,
I
I'm
am
murdered.
very close to murder for here, for me.
Oh,
The
look.
blood continues
You wanted
to
like
spurt.
You want like a towel or something there, Arkadiy? You getting blood? Like, oh, I just swept this part. Let me get you a couple towels. Running off and get you some towels.
Well, thank you.
Do whatever you
Thank you, Randy. Solavita will be quite lucky to have you as her husband in time.
Oh, well, thank you. I got your blessing. I got like Chauncey's blessing. I know I got Chauncey's blessing. Fortuna gave me her blessing too. Oh, this is great. I can't wait. We're gonna be family, Chauncey.
Mr. Pot, I do believe
You don't gotta call me Pot. We're basically family already. Just call me Randy.
there is now blood on the floor of this establishment. I believe that should probably be cleaned up.
Oh yeah, I'll get it. But
Vincent, thank
there's
you.
blood on the floor all the time. It's fine. And he goes.
And
he'll
Fortuna
he'll
is
start cleaning.
tired and she is back to her
Melissa hates
grumpy,
Fist Spot Randy.
say it self.
I'm coming down from being drunk. I'm gonna give Randy a big hug. I'm
It's like,
so
oh,
glad after a
big
day
fella.
of almost being murdered that you're here. You are family. I love you, Randy.
Oh, I love you too, big fella. Big fella, he just, oh, jeez, oh, cool. I think you got a crack. I think you just cracked something. Thank you very much. Man, whew. Okay. So I'll say, so that Solavita can come down and join the scene, that at some point Randy will depart. And as the night pushes towards like midnight or beyond, Vincent never comes back. And it's just the four of you in the legitimate bastard. Some of you in rough shape. You guys talking about anything? Are you guys doing any healing? Like what are we doing in this scene here?
Arkadiy would pull out that necklace that he took off the frost mage and hand it over to Solavita. Solavita, dear.
Yes.
A frost mage from Luzrek tried to kill me tonight with her bodyguard. Unfortunately for me, Chauncey saved my life. But she had
a
this
loose wreck. Okay.
Yes, from my home. But she had this necklace on her. And most importantly, I had a vision of a woman who seems to be at the core of what raised the salt pirates. And she too was wearing an almost exact identical necklace. Perhaps it is some sort of badge of this cabal.
I don't get on with the cabals because I keep saying no to them because they're creepy and they have bad names.
Oh yes. Also, Vincent went into Magic Door to perhaps join cult or cabal, and he has not come back.
Where did you say they were again?
It's like this magic wall that you enter in and the wall's there and then it's not, and sorcery is fucking horrible.
Well, it's not that
indeed.
bad, Chauncey.
Oh.
You just need to get used to it a
Well,
little bit.
because
The
you know
frost
when
is
to
still on
say
the side
no.
of my face. He's like, I agree with Chauncey. Quite horrible.
Okay, well, let me take a look at this. Something we found, me and Fortuna, is that first off, there was a new pirate crew that came to Stag Harbor a few days ago. And they suspiciously like our soul friends. Also, the statues are upstairs in my attic room right now because Randy found them creepy for some reason. So, and he said the patrons didn't like them. Too bad. They do feel very light, like the bodies have disintegrated on the inside of them. So I think they're not there anymore. And Etta Henrietta Janitar tried to become a part of the Architects Guild, but then didn't. So she may have gone to the opera. So maybe opera tomorrow. And then also her tools were Oscar, apparently is a metal worker from the Cametown area.
And I would say that while Solovita has been talking about this, Fortuna is doing some bind wounds to Arkadiy.
You are so kind, my
I will
lady.
spend 3 points of bind wounds, which will give you 6 health back.
Awesome.
Solovita, if you wanted, there is a spend available looking at this necklace. If you wanted to, I would say ideally something like Forgotten Lore would be great. But I'm open to other options if you if
No, I've
there's something you
got-
want to try.
I have Forgotten Lore. Happy to spend it here. Boop, spend. There we go. Sorry, I was just looking at bind wounds because I thought it was 2 points. Okay, yeah.
You recall when you were doing a lot of research into your family, both now and over the past several years, even going back to the Future Tide, and you were kind of going through some of those found notes that you had discovered in the undervaults, and as you started to piece together these strange and almost blasphemous, ages and sections of time throughout your family, you recall that there is a time in which there was an age of assassination, and there was your family seemed to be effectively at war with sorcerers cabals, and the further you dug into it, you realized that it wasn't just your family and only your family, but it was Eversink was sort of just kind of overwhelmed with it, and which is one of the reasons why there became these laws to prevent certain kinds of corruption spreading and hurting the Nari. You recall seeing this image at one point in the notes that you've reviewed. You don't know a ton about them, but you do know that it referred to a sorcerer's cabal, a very long-lived one, very powerful one, very secretive one, known as the Lost College. Their specific location, where they are, you don't know. Many cabals they might find places to meet in Eversink, but most sorcerers, they visit as opposed to live for the dangers that they may face. It's not illegal to be a sorcerer, but it's illegal to practice sorcery. That's the kind of to sort of engage in sorcery and everything. So a lot of the times it's outside of the city. Sometimes it's on ships. Sometimes it's just in different cities and different countries and that sort of thing. And other people do live here, and they just stay in hiding, and they try to, yourself, not let anyone see, when you do bad stuff. But that's what you would be able to get from the spend.
Only if it is to kick a Bonaventure. So this symbol, Arkadiy, it looks like it is from what is called the Lost College. It's a sorcerer's college. They're mostly travelers. They don't have a location. They just meet at places. But one of the things they travel on often is ships. And we know that the ship just came in that might interest us.
Indeed. Also, forgot to tell you, when I had my vision of this woman wearing the necklace, it was a vision of the past, and she was on the docks with these sailors, these pirates. But the interesting thing is, even though I was looking at her in the past, she was able to reach through the vision and push me out.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Push me out.
Yes. Would I
For the
know
podcast
what kind
audience,
of
Jeremy is doing hand puppet
magic.
versions of this conversation.
Yeah, definitely a visual joke. What was your question?
Would I have any idea what kind of school of magic would be able to sort of interrupt prophecies?
Likely she has some kind of masterful control over prophecy itself.
Herself, yeah. Okay, so not good news. It probably means she has similar abilities to you, but much better, much stronger, actually competent at it kind of situation.
You wound me with your truths, Solovita, but that's fair. Yes.
Take 3 points of morale damage from that. Just right
cut.
But no,
Solovita makes list with Altavira and Pelletier.
Suddenly, that list gets a little longer.
I wasn't the one that sacrificed you to Pelletier. I'll just say that.
He's fair.
So,
but yes.
As you guys are talking about that, I want to cut over to Vincent. As Vincent, you've been traveling through a very lengthy tunnel, and it's dark. There's really nothing to it. It's all fairly plain. As you get to the end of it, you see these like roughly hewn stairs. Like they don't look like they're brick or anything like that. They're just carved into rock. Everything is fairly damp down here. And she has been relatively quiet the whole time. And she hasn't really sort of created any conversation. But if you had any questions, she probably, gave some basic answers here and there. But eventually, when you get to the end of this very long tunnel, you go up these handful of stairs, and you see there is a door. And when she goes up to it, and it's like more like an attic door as opposed to it's like above her, and like the stairs are going up through it as opposed to it be like a vertically standing door. And you see her just much like the bartender did. She kind of knocks on it in a particular pattern. Both in terms of where she puts her fist and also the sort of the frequency of the knock itself. And then you see moments later, the door opens up, and you can see as you step out, you are on some. I mean, you first you smell the salt air, you smell fresh air, you see the sky, you see the stars, you see the moon, and it's sort of like a little fingernail moon kind of up there. And you are standing on rocky terrain, although it's been worn down for like a path. And as you get stock of where you're at, you can see that off to the north, maybe, you see the city of Eversink sprawling out in front of you at a distance. And between you and it is a significant distance of water. And you can see all around you, there are hundreds of ships of different sizes, some huge sailing or whaling vessels, others smaller private yachts, and others small, like kind of fishing boats and things like that. But you realize you are out in the harbor somewhere, and you have climbed up out of some kind of rocky islet. Some small island of sorts. It's not an island in the same sense that your family lives on, but it is a rocky islet. And you can see that as you follow the path down, there is a rowboat waiting at the base of where this islet is. And there's like a small little dock, and there is a man waiting there, this big kind of broad-shouldered, beefy looking man, who just nods at Ludovica as she comes up, and he helps her down into the boat, and then he kind of does the same to you. And do you get in?
Yeah, as I'm stepping in. Taking me to more. Just how many?
Oh, this is the final leg of the journey. We're going to where we're able to gather in safety. The city, the powers that be, the city watch, the Triskidane, and all the other self-righteous fools, the inquisitors of Denari and such, they are very afraid, you see, of people like you and I. This is why you spend so much time in the prison. That's why I spend time in hiding, but I hide differently. Some hide in basements and attics and closets and such. Some hide in caves in the darkness. I hide in plain sight. Often that is it is the best place to hide. No one would ever suspect the prima donna Ludovica Donici. And she says it in a way that is beautiful and sing-songy, and you realize that she is genuinely amazing at she's an amazing operatic singer, and it kind of carries out onto the water. But here, out on the water, they can't reach us. They have no power here, no domain here over us. We can do what we will, as we will. But of course, there are times in which we need to go to the city. And we do. And we find ways. This is one way. And she motions back towards the islet, but there are others. Sometimes it is a simple rowboat, and then there are some of us who have other abilities. And she smiles, but doesn't elaborate.
can imagine there's many.
Mhm. We keep our numbers small, but we are, with you, we are 12. 12 who are capable, and a few more who are possibilities for more recruitment in the future. And that is not to count our many aides, and like Antonio here, our guards to watch us while we sleep. But you are welcome here, of course. This will be your new home. This does not mean that you cannot go to Eversink, of course. Of course you can. You are free to do that. We do not hold you prisoner here. You are one of us now. You have taken the oath.
I'm ready.
Excellent. Antonio, please. And big guy gets down in. He's huge. Like he's got biceps the size of other people's thighs, and he just starts rowing, and rowing, and he's kind of pushing you a little bit further away, like on a sort of a southwesternly direction. But it's not very long before you find yourself just at the base of a very large, very beautiful, very, very well put together, well made sailing vessel. And you see a rope ladder comes down, and he once more, Antonio, kind of helps her up with a hand, and she starts climbing up it. And then he does the same thing to you, and he offers you an opportunity as well. Do you go up?
Yeah, I'll follow. Thank you,
Okay.
Antonio.
He's like, you are welcome. Welcome, sir. And he kind of bows to you, because you get the sense that he listens to you. It's not the other way around. Like, you are a much higher station than him. He seems to just be like a hired hand. When you get up onto the deck, you can see that the ship is enormous. And it is not just some small vessel. It is a very, very large vessel, very roomy. And there's a crew that is certainly operating it. And they all don't seem to pay any mind to you. But I will tell you this, Vincent, when you look at them, they do not look like what attacked you. They are well-dressed. You can see all of them. None of them are wearing like torn and tattered clothing. None of them have like stringy hair. None of them are missing their teeth. None of them have like whipped up pantaloons and anything like that. All of them are like uniformed almost, like it's a naval ship in some ways. And they all seem to be very clean. You know, they're clean cut, clean shaven. Like they're all well, you can tell they're all well manicured. You walk by one or two, they're even perfumed in some way. And you can see hanging about on sort of the various masts and beams. You can see there's lanterns here and there that are hanging, not unlike the ones that you saw inside the hollow lantern, giving this sort of beautiful ethereal glow to the deck itself. You hear the sounds of someone playing a violin somewhere, and you see kind of up on one of the higher decks, there is a man who is kind of standing there, just sort of playing it here and there, and then he like stops, and the sound continues, and you see him just kind of weaving his hand around, and you hear the music, the sound itself, kind of continue as he sets the violin down, and you see him almost like someone would juggle pins or balls. You see him just sort of juggling what looks like the sound of music effectively in the sky. You see another woman, a pair of them kind of sitting in these lounge chairs themselves. They have like a big bottle of wine, and they're sipping between them. They're both reading what looks like books. You see a vaulted captain's like chamber that you see up on the foreside of the ship as well. And she turns around to you, Ludovica. Welcome to your new home, Vincent. We shall find suitable quarters for you.
I can't believe it's just sorcery out in the open like this. I've never seen so many.
Well, we have been doing this for a very long time. We have endured many an era. Some of those eras we have flourished, and others we have withered, but we have endured. Today you find us, well, on the cusp of regaining or acquiring a power greater than we have ever held before. And you, Vincent Guy, you are here to help us with it.
Lead the way.
Oh, I don't mean in this moment. In the coming days, you will be asked to. You will be asked to do things that perhaps you might be uncomfortable with. But I remind you of the oath you have taken, and those that you have broken. Your ties are bound to us now, not to your family. I hesitate to reveal all to you. I feel you look very tired and worn. Perhaps we shall wait for the morning when the sun is high in the sky and we can have a full belly at breakfast and a more frank discussion about just the plans that the college has put in order recently.
Then I'll familiarize myself with the ship.
Excellent. There is but one place you are not allowed to go. She points up at that kind of vaulted office area. The headmaster of the college does not like to be disturbed.
Noted.
Understood. Now, introduce yourself around. You are a very well-known figure here. There's none who do not know the name of Vincent Guy and the suffering you endured inside of the prison. We are very, very happy to have you. And she, again, kind of pecks you on either side of the cheek, and she, like, you just, as we start to fade out of that scene, she, like, walks you up to the two women and introduces you, and you just start to meet all of these different people. And they are all, as she promised, very happy to meet you. Okay.
I don't like all this happiness. It needs to be sad.
What's that?
It needs to be more sad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's too happy. They're too happy. Yeah, like, oh, it's so sad. The guy we had before you, he was so cool, and now he's dead, and you're here. Oh shit. Okay. All right.
Sadness, as we just learned, is one of Vincent's drives.
It is. Yeah, it is. Okay. Well, don't worry. They're gonna make you sad. So.
Oh gosh.
Do you? So are you cool to just like wait till morning? Are you cool to just kind of find some quarters and sort of us move on from this scene?
Yeah, I don't really know how far away we are, so I guess hanging for the night.
Yeah, and I will tell you this: like you've not really sensed any deception from them. Like she has been. It does seem that she has been honest for you, or to you this whole time you've met her. It certainly does seem like she's withholding something, but she's not deceiving you. It's more like she's waiting to sort of assess you or waiting for the right time, but you definitely tell, and she even admits it as such, that there's more that she wants to say. But we'll fade out of that scene and we'll check in. The four of you, do we say you guys rest for the night? You got your healing in? Was there any other business? Okay. Do any of you...
Chauncey drunkenly falls asleep.
Right there. Just keels over and falls. Do any of you go back to the manor to rest for the night?
I think it would be safer to stay away just for the moment. It's a little more discreet here,
Levita, we have been hunted.
Go back to sleep, Chauncey.
In every
Pure sleep.
location that our family lays its head, whether the manor or every household out there. I do not think.
Okay. How about this? And Solovita will reach out to her sagging bookshelves and grabs this very small leather book. Not skin this time, Chauncey, don't worry. And it's not got any titles, and she'll creak it open. So this is an encrypted list of the Harbor Knives safe houses. Arkadiy probably knows exactly who that is. We could find an empty one. They definitely wouldn't look for us in any of these.
Well, they seem to find us using sorcery before. That's all I think, perhaps. But I like this plan. Let's go to a safe house and take a nap.
Arkadiy likes the safe house plan. Oh, how shocking.
Okay.
But yes, I actually, one of my iconic items is a list of Harbor Knives safe house.
Okay. No roll, no point spends or anything like that necessary. We're just going to say this works out, and you find a relatively nearby safe house to crash for the night, and the night will pass uneventfully for the four of you. No issues. No one comes to attack you. It's not the most comfortable sleep, probably, but nonetheless, it is a safe one. And morning comes, the sun comes through the slats or the windows or whatever it is that the safe house might have, and you have the day about you. Where would you think you all would be headed?
And Fortuna is like, if anyone is sleeping in, Fortuna is like, kind of banging things around and making sure that everyone is up early. We've rested and we must continue on.
Oh, no, did you get drunk too, Fortuna? Did you fall asleep in the alley? I never thought I'd see the day.
I'm sorry? I did not catch that.
Nothing.
Well, I'm glad to see that you're awake. We have things that we need, and Fortuna's sort of back to
Alert,
kind
live, enthusiastic.
Descending usual tone.
Do we want to check on our household to make sure everybody's still alive before we travel around town? Or are we happy just... I don't know if Vincent might have gone back to the mansion. We could take a look for him.
Yeah, I mean, there's the whole thing of like, there was this magic wall he went through. At which point, all due respect, Solovita, I want to just say I love you. I love you very much. But
this feels like a setup.
He did some sorcery, woozery bullshit. And he went through a magical wall, and then that fucking wall was gone, and Vincent is fucking gone.
Okay,
in other words, Solovita, yes, perhaps we check back at the mansion to see if Vincent has returned.
If he's not there, then I don't know where this tavern is. Maybe you could take us there. We can take a look. Did you see like anything happening to the wall just opened? There was nothing to it.
Listen, I think perhaps going back to the tavern. Oh, sorry, Chauncey. I say that going back to tavern perhaps not a good idea.
Agreed.
Dozen dead bodies, dead sorceress, dead bodyguard. I'm sure watches will be keeping eyes open on.
Okay.
The tyranny of frigid sorcery.
The tyranny of frigid sorcery. Okay, sure.
You don't do ice sorcery, so you're fine.
Okay, no, that's true. I don't. I just do statues. And rocks. So okay, then I would propose let's look for Vincent a little bit. He's lost somewhere, so we got to figure out where he is. But we also have the opera house tonight, so let's find out who's singing. And we've got the Sag Harbor Pirates. Yes. Anything else? Oh, and Oscar, metalworker in Kimtown.
Yes, I do believe that going to Kimtown is our utmost priority. We must locate Etta.
Let us go there, but let's just today stick together so that we are not torn to pieces. Yes, right. Yes, Solovita, and he's still got this horror. He's like,
yes.
I would agree.
I would agree, except really, we aren't together. We're missing Vincent.
We will go.
Yes, but four is better than two.
We will go to the manor, see if he is there.
Okay.
But if he does not return, we still need to find out what has happened.
And creepy lady with necklace. I'll keep an eye out, I guess, for this stuff. But Arkadiy will probably notice it first. Okay.
Okay, so you guys are going to check the manor first. All right. You head over to Giglio Hill. You arrive maybe an hour after you wake up and get yourself together and make your plan for the day. And when you kind of get into the neighborhood, it's quickly apparent that something's up. As you can see, there's a bit of panic and excitement going on. And at one point, you, Chauncey, you hear a shout of a woman's voice, who just kind of, "Oh, thank goodness!" Oh, and you look around and you can see Valentina Scarpaccio is like racing after you in all of her state and glory, dragging her skirts on the ground. "Oh, you are alive!" And she throws herself and just like kind of like right there in the middle of the street.
Death, and I just thought I'd never see you again.
And she just starts
Fortuna,
like
you know, Chauncey is marriageable age now too. Yes,
Valentina's like the same age as Fortuna.
that doesn't seem to matter.
Oh, I thought I heard of all the stories yesterday of your family's misfortune, all of the killings. I thought that was terrible, and your poor matriarch Eliana disappeared. But then this morning, of all things, oh my goodness gracious, I thought, you must not have been there. Oh, thank the heavens! Were you sleeping at your bar? Were you out gallivanting around? You crazy! Oh, I can't
You
even
know
be
me,
mad at
I'm
you
a
if
very
you were.
entrepreneurial sort. I have an import-export business going on, lots of ins, lots of outs, that sort of thing. And just they did come to attack me, and they nearly got me, but I thought, at the end of the day, you and I had plans this weekend, no? Remember, we wanted to do the wine tasting. And I said,
Yes,
dear
of
gods,
course.
no. You would have not deny me my
Hey,
weekend.
Chauncey, we have the opera tonight too.
Oh, you're going to the opera? Well,
Yes, I'm sure Chauncey
considering-
would love to have you there.
Excuse me, one real
Oh.
quick, one point. What
Oh,
happened
yes.
this morning, dear
oh
lady?
my goodness. Well, your manor, it's collapsed. Well, part of it collapsed. The northern tower. It's just crumbled away. It's just a pile of rubble falling off into the water. I certainly hope that there was no one inside at the time. I was worried perhaps that Chauncey was there. I know how much he loves to look at the stars, and the tower seems like such a wonderful place to do so.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Bid you farewell. And Fortuna just like trucks it as fast as she can sort of like wobble down the road.
Opera!
Yes, call me, metaphorically speaking.
Okay. As you guys approach the manor, you can see that there is a significant City Watch presence, but there also is a significant Guild of Architect and Canal Watcher presence, and you probably even see Luigi and stuff. And you see that one corner of your manor, again, we've described your manor as this completely disconnected kind of architecture.
Yeah.
And on one side, like kind of the we'll call it like the northeastern side, there was a tower that kind of overlooked the water. It might have once been a lighthouse, who knows? But it is completely collapsed. It is not there at all. But we're going to cut from there, as we got to check in with Vincent.
Oh.
Vincent, morning comes. You are taken out onto the deck, and you can see that Ludovica and a couple of the other sorcerers are having tea and breakfast at a table that has been set up on the deck itself, and you can see this lavish spread of drink and fruits and tea and meats and all sorts of things that everyone seems to be sort of diving into. And Ludovica sees you. Oh, yes, Vincent, come over here, join us, please.
May I?
Break your fast.
I'll sit down with them.
And you've met a few of them before. We don't have to go through all of the names necessarily, but you've met and you can see like people are greeting you and they're saying hi, and all of them all of them have kind of a look to them that is sort of not gaunt, but definitely a little erratic. Like at times their eyes are just a little bit sort of pushed back a little bit in their sockets. And you can see that either through a lack of sleep or maybe even through makeup to accentuate it, they all kind of have this sort of these dark sunken eye look. And you never got to sense that anyone was cruel to each other, but definitely like there's a vibe, like, but one that probably you kind of fit in with in some ways, as they feel like their general social skills and whatnot are a little bit different than yours. But as you sit down, Ludovica says, well, did you have a good rest? It was the room, and you had an ornate room. Like it was the size of like two stately cabins combined into one. Like it is, and you had like a four corner bed. Like you had like drapes kind of hanging over top of it. You had people that could bring you drink and food in the night. So like all of your needs were taken care of. So, did you have a fine sleep this evening?
That's not what I'm used to.
Are you have you sailed before?
No, it's my first time on a boat.
Oh, wonderful. Well, for many generations now, we have remained fairly anchored here. Occasionally, we are forced to circumstance to relocate here and there. But today, we are very excited. For we are going on a bit of a journey, and we are very happy to have you come with us. As our newest member, and as one that we hold in very high esteem, I feel an obligation to be honest with you. Because honesty amongst us, despite the reputation that the folks of Eversink, the Nari worshippers, would say, honesty between sorcerers is something we value here in the college. Do you value this as well, Vincent?
Of course, trustworthy is so important.
But excellent.
You saying we're leaving everything?
Yes, we are. We have a very perilous journey ahead of us. We will not be going alone. We have a sister ship that we'll be meeting up with very soon. Now, when we meet up with them, I do not want you to be alarmed. You see, we are aware of what has befallen your family over the past 24 hours or so. And I must be honest with you, we are not entirely uninvolved, you would see. But the truth is that your family has far given up any claim they've had to power or influence. They have withered at the vine for generations. And although you have shown a great deal of power, the rest of your family, let's be honest, is they leave something to be desired, you see. This is not personal, what we are doing. I hope you understand that. This is not a grudge that we hold against your family. It's just those that we are working with are partners in this endeavor. Well, there's no better way to put this. They need your family to... Well, they need your blood. Not yours personally. You are part of us now. You are protected. There is nothing to be worried about whatsoever. But your matriarch, they have taken her, you see. And we would be joining them on a journey to, to use her to free them from a centuries-old curse. And in us assisting them in doing this, they will assist us as well. So that the death of one very old woman who has already lived a full life will provide them with freedom and will provide us with great and immeasurable power.
This is a lot to wrap my head around.
Yes.
Can I send correspondence? I'm sure they're looking for me. Worried.
Yes. We think it might be better for a clean break. Perhaps if you, perhaps after the deed is done, perhaps after we have gone through the plan, we will return to Eversink, of course. If that is your wish, we will bring you back here. But we are on a very tight schedule, you see.
Nothing could be done. I'm already here.
See, and she looks at the rest of them. I told you, Vincent is a very practical man. He understands. And Vincent, you will be a full partner in the power that we are about to harness. And you can see all of them look like children at like a candy store, or at down like the stalls where they see like the various fruits and dates and things that you might see at market, and they are almost salivating as they talk about it. We are so very glad that you joined us. We're so very glad that you have taken the oath and that you are one of us and that you have severed your ties from your family. You will be a wonderful addition to the college.
Scoop up whatever's on my plate, put it in my mouth.
And you can see they all just start laughing, that kind of cascading, like, and we're going to fade out of that scene.
Ooh,
And we're going to
bit
call it for
crazy.
the night. And there you go. All right, that's it for today.
wow.
We'll call it there.
So good.
Ah,
I love
Right.
this
Oh my
game so much.
Gosh. Agreed.
I wasn't sure if you were going to like take her offer. Like you literally just
How can I not?
put your hand. I love it, dude. Thank you so much. That was
Fair
so great.
point.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll pick up there in the morning with the four of you finding something terrible has happened to your home, and Vincent
Yes.
getting ready to go on a trip. Where are we going? I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So let's go ahead and do some closing plugs, and we'll get on out of here. So we're going to start with Aaron. Aaron, you got anything you want to say with Garblack?
Sure. Next week on Tuesday at 12 p.m., I believe, Pacific Standard Time, you can check out the Garblag Games YouTube channel. Pete will be in the GM seat, continuing his Hyperborea run. They're having a lot of fun with that. And then on Thursday, Lewis will be back, and I believe it may end up even being the finale of this this particular One Ring story. So definitely tune in for that.
They were doing some of the Moria stuff, I think, right?
Yep.
Isn't that what they ended up doing? Awesome. Okay. All right. As for us here, what do we got going? Tomorrow night, Aaron is going to be running us through some Dragonbane. You can see everyone here but Jeremy. Unfortunately, Jeremy's, I mean,
I like
He
to
doesn't
go
like
with my
me.
family on Friday. Oh no, I'm a tough person.
well, we just
At
kind
least
of
to
got
admit
tired.
it.
Yeah, we just kind of got tired.
Uh-huh.
Man, you say a lot of really questionable things in the Zoom
I'm a
call
piece
before
of
we go
shit.
live. Like,
Let's just
it's
admit it. I'm a horrible man, and I get it.
Too many. Yeah, it's just one of these days. One of these days, you're going to let it slip, and we're all going to realize exactly who Jeremy is. But yeah, tomorrow night, Dragonbane. Saturday, you can see us doing some more Han cluster. So for Savage Worlds, we finished up our first load adventure. We're going to do one more Savage Tale of it. Crazy end to the last sesh. Monday, we got some Other Scape where Jeremy is part of a bread cult now. So I'm very excited to see how that works out. And he's met God-ish. And then Tuesday, Kipser, we're back to Perils and Princesses.
Perils and Princesses.
Yeah, and then next Thursday, more Swords of the Serpentine. Also, check out the YouTube page, Adventures in Lollygagging. We got all sorts of stuff up there, including our Magnus Archives game that Steven just started up last Friday. And so you can see the session 0 in our first session. And then speaking of Steven, if you haven't already checked out Huckleberry RPG and huckleberryrpg.com, is a game he's been working on. And it is a cinematic horror action Western. And I think there is a big update coming later this month. And there are, I think every month we're getting an update. And the last couple have been adventures. So there's a couple of adventures, and there's some new fancy stuff coming out later this month. So huckleberryrpg.com, or just look it up on DriveThruRPG. And you know what? When you get it,
go review it. Go drop a little review on DriveThruRPG because that would be really, really useful. Reviews, even if it's just a couple words, seriously, like they're super important. So if you could just help us out just a little bit, that would be great. All right, so we're gonna raid. Looks like we're gonna raid 20 sides to every story. So follow that raid. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
Good night.
See ya.
See ya.
Arrivederci.